This is my brother Pete. And this is Gary. Technically, Gary is Pete's pet. But the truth is, they're best friends.
Quit stalling, insect breath. Move.
Some people say it's not a good idea to have a lizard for a pet. Mostly because they really don't do anything except eat, sunbathe, and sulk a lot. Gary was different. He was a lizard who knew how to live large. But as we were all about to find out,
This one?
the very lust for life that made Gary special would finally do him in.
It's mighty strange. You looking happily deranged. I can't settle this in bed. Or have you picked your target yet? It's ended. Don't your dog bite? It's ended. It's ended. Don't your dog bite? It's ended. It's ended. Don't your dog bite? It's ended.
The bond between a boy and his reptile is a beautiful thing.
Buckle up, Gary. It's not just the law. It feels good.
Their friendship was responsible for the invention of a lizard-sized foosball game, a lizard-sized shower massage, and of course, a lizard-sized bike seat.
Hang on, Gary. I only know one speed. Fast.
While Pete and Gary made interspecies communication look easy, I was having problems talking to a member of my own family. My dad.
I'll never have to turn on a spigot again. How about those automatic sprinklers, huh, Pete?
Automatic is good.
Hey, you bet it's good.
I used to talk to my dad about everything. But one day, something changed. It was like I could see the words come right out of my mouth. And they looked stupid. But then again, anything was better than saying nothing. And plunging into the parent-kid black hole of silence known as the Big Quiet.
So, Pete, how's marching band?
It's good.
So, how's your summer vacation going?
Good.
Just between you and me, how's your love life? Good?
But it wasn't good at all. And as things between Dad and I got worse, I actually started to get a little jealous of Pete and Gary. They talked about everything.
I never told anyone this, but clowns, you know, the kind of the circus, they scare me. Don't tell anyone, okay?
Before the Big Quiet got bigger, I decided to talk to my friends.
You're not alone, Pete. We've all been through it.
I never know what to talk about with my dad. So whenever he's around, I just fake falling asleep. He thinks I have a degenerative brain disorder.
Well, I made an action figure of my dad, and I spend a half an hour every day with it on intensive conversation drills.
You guys are lucky. My dad and I have to go to a special kind of therapy. We talk with socks.
If I say something dumb, you'll treat me like a kid.
But you are a kid.
No, I'm not. I'm a talking sock.
Good. Sock puppets?
It's not so bad. Get to keep him afterwards.
Pete! Gary! Oh, devastating tragedy. Unspeakable pile.
I was chasing his bull. I yelled for him to stop, but Gary was too excited. He never saw the car. Holy moly.
That lizard came out of nowhere. I didn't see him.
Gary.
Sorry, kiddo. He's gone.
Sorry, my little Viking.
Oh, I failed the code of the crosswalk. To serve and protect.
I know your pain.
Give the lad room.
Shouldn't you do something? Maybe just be with him.
Not now. I think he needs to be alone.
I've lost pets too. I know how it feels. So if you ever want to talk, let me know. What do I do now? Come on, I'll show you.
It's not much, but it's something.
Monica Perling is kind of famous for having bad luck with pets. So when someone's pet dies, she's there, prepared. Kind of like a Girl Scout of death. And she's had a lot of pets.
Wow! Here lies Tina, the gutsiest yellowfin lilyfish ever. I told her a million times, lilyfish aren't supposed to skydive. She just wouldn't listen. Over here is Norba. If you ever get a snake, take all your mom's high heels and throw them in the river. See, these guys were my true friends. Like you and Gary. You don't just forget a friend, do ya?
Little did Pete know that those words would change him forever. And speaking of words, I was trying to avoid using them at all costs. First, I tried the mouth full technique. It worked, but I gained 5 pounds. Then I gave up speaking altogether. I figured it was a foolproof plan.
Hey, Pete, what's up?
But there was no escape.
Pete? Your dad and I would like to talk to you.
I was headed for sock puppet therapy.
Honey, this has gone too far. We've got to do something.
I don't want to wear a sock.
Come and sit down, son. We need to talk.
We're worried. It's Pete. And you've got to help us. He's really broken up over losing Gary. So, this Saturday, I want you and your father to drive to the Lizard Ranch in Cumberland and find him a new pet.
Cumberland? But that's a 2-hour drive.
Well, that's okay, son. Give us a chance to shoot the breeze, you know, like we used to. Huh?
The day of Gary's funeral was the saddest day of Pete's life. Fortunately, Monica got Pete a good deal on a turquoise coffin with taffeta inlays. She said Lou Costello went out that way. I guess that made Pete feel a little better.
Dearly large, today's a day for goodbyes. I remember the tingly-tongued lad, Gary, as we called him, in the way. And now, well now, he's but a memory, living somewhere in the lap of the big one. Gary, wherever you are, always know that there is a hand of Bob's your uncle, finely dealt for you. Anything to add? Anyone? Anything to add at all? Anything? Anything at all.
I guess you can all go now. Thanks for your time.
It's all my fault, Chief. I let you down. I let Gary down. I'm giving up my post. You just say the word and I'll be here. 24 hours a day.
Is there anything I can do?
Just don't forget Gary. Ever. Because I won't.
I could tell that Gary's funeral wasn't enough for Pete. And as they laid the Lizard King into his final resting place, Pete swore there'd be no rest for Wellsville until Gary got the goodbye he deserved. Saying goodbye to someone can be hard, even when you know you're gonna see them again. But for Pete, saying goodbye to Gary was the hardest thing in his whole life.
This is What Radio? Before I play The End by Jim Morrison, the Lizard King himself, I want to tell you about tomorrow's tribute. Hands across Wellsville. We're going to start at Mr. Chakuti's front lawn and make a 20-mile-long human chain in honor of my Lizard King, Gary. Where is everybody?
We're here, Chief. That's what counts. To do your duty.
Gary deserves more respect, Pete. When Lincoln died, they shut down a railroad for a week. We gotta do something big, too.
Don't worry, Gary. I'll think of something.
Ah! Ellen, geez, you scared me.
It's just an action figure.
I know, but it's so real.
Thanks. Now just relax, okay? The key is to come up with things that your dad likes to talk about, to take the pressure off you.
Okay. Dad, you know, automatic sprinklers are really great. You know, the way they sprinkle automatically.
Whoa, this is serious.
It started pretty rough, but gradually, I got a little more comfortable.
You know, Dad, I don't throw the word soulmates around lightly, but you and me, we're cosmic companions.
Hey, you two, what's going on?
We're playing with a doll.
Your mother doesn't know about this, does she? Good. Hey, remember, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. It's a long way to the Lizard Ranch.
Meanwhile, Pete was still trying to make the world remember Gary. So that night, he unveiled his big idea, a multimedia extravaganza called Gary Max.
Gary and Pete did everything together. Here they are, checking the fuse box.
Instead of honoring Gary's memory, I was busy cramming my head full of dad facts.
Okay, ready? Antifungal cream should always be applied.
By a doctor.
No, directly to the problem area.
My turn. What's your dad's philosophy of life?
Always sear in the juices. No!
That's his grilling philosophy.
And here's Gary and Petunia doing the Aztec jiggle. We seem to be having some technical difficulties. Ladies and gentlemen, stay in your seat. Gary Max will be right back.
Hey, you flamings, come back!
I know you want to see that lizard boogie.
Nobody cares.
Thanks, guys. I owe you.
Here, take these. It's 2 hours worth of material. Now, I put 2 emergency cards in there. One is a joke about a peacock and a duck, and the other says to talk about compound interest. Hopefully you won't need them. I'll be thinking about you.
Ellen, what's your excuse?
I was busy. Sorry, Pete.
You're right. It doesn't matter. By tomorrow, the whole world will know about Gary.
And you better get there early. The first 50 mourners get a free black armband.
Fire it up, Frank. We've got work to do.
A friendly reminder, don't look into the flame.
So finally, the big day arrived. Both of us stood, staring into the gaping maw of a giant abyss. For me, it was the big quiet. For Pete, it was eternity itself.
This eternal flame will last forever, just like Gary's memory.
Pete had built the most elaborate memorial ever designed for a pet.
Don't worry, Chief. It's early yet. People will come.
Make it bigger, so the whole world can see. Don't worry, I get propane at wholesale.
Crank it, Frank.
10-4, Chief. Quick reminder, do not look into the flame.
It worked.
As for me, well, the time had come to either spit in the eye of the big quiet or become its whimpering slave.
So, Dad, how's the webworm problem?
Webworms? What are you talking about?
I mean, moth larvae. Webworms are also known as moth larvae.
Oh, that. Well, let me tell you what I did. I made my own formula. It's all natural ingredients. In fact, I even used some Hoover Dam well water.
You know, Dad, I read an article that says people are using fruit in their barbecue marinade.
Well, you know, I heard that before, too. But you know what the key to marinating is? It's simple. It's not the time, it's the ingredients.
Yes. The kid was on a roll. We were shooting the breeze and laying down the miles. And with a fistful of dad ammo at my disposal, I was in the driver's seat. That is, until fate blindsided me.
Uh-oh. What?
Oh, there's a traffic jam. Oh, for gosh sakes, we could be stuck here for hours.
Hours? I can't. We can't.
I couldn't believe it. A 5-mile backup. All because one man was doing his duty at death's door.
Right this way.
Instead of the crosswalk, where he belonged. The longer we sat in traffic, the more dad ammo I used up. Finally, all I had left were my 2 emergency cards.
So, Dad, what can you tell me about compound interest?
Well, compound interest? Well, a lot. I mean, the term compound... Well, oh, will you look at this traffic? Oh. You know, there's only one thing in this world I can count on.
Factory pressed charcoal?
No, my automatic sprinklers.
And now Gary's memory will live forever, just like this flame. No!
Well, this has been very interesting. I think we'll head over to the Acoustic Tile Museum now. Thanks. Bye.
Pete, honey, this has gone too far. You've done a great job telling the world about Gary, but now it's time to stop.
No, don't give up. Once this thing dries, you'll be mourning again in no time.
No, Pete. It's time to start living again. That's what Gary loved about you.
Don't let go. ever.
I guess I should turn off the sprinkler.
No, don't. Water's good for the bugs, and that's good for lizards. Mom, can you help me with something?
As Pete stepped back from the edge of the abyss, I was falling. Fast.
So, Dad, a duck and a peacock walk into a bar.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
What was the point? It was sock puppet therapy for me. There was nothing I could do but surrender to the nothingness of the big quiet.
Go ahead. They walk into the bar.
And that's when Pete saved me.
This is a special bulletin from What Radio.
After all the tributes and memorials, Pete decided it was finally time to say goodbye. And with the metal plate in our mom's head boosting the signal to 3 counties, Pete said so long, his way.
A few days ago, I lost my friend, Gary. And ever since, I've been trying to figure out how to say goodbye. I guess the answer is, there's nothing to say. So maybe we could all just think about him with a minute of silence. To Gary, friend, neighbor, Lizard King.
All along, I had feared the quiet. And now that I was in it, I realized that I didn't have to fill the space between Dad and I with a lot of words. If I couldn't think of something to say, I could just be quiet. He'd still be my dad. We'd still love each other.
Thanks. And now on with the show.
What do you say we go home now? I got a feeling Pete's okay. Were you saying something before?
Oh, yeah. But it's not important.
In the end, Pete's moment of silence spoke to all of us, each in a different way. Frank returned to his post, where he protected all species, big and small. Pete learned that you can let go of a friend without letting go of a friendship.
Didn't she like a bike seat?
As for me, well, not all of my fears about talking with Dad were cured.
Want a lift?
Dad!
But then again, sometimes talking isn't all it's cracked up to be.